Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. I have Joaquin with us on the Zoom call today. I'm super excited to have him share with you about his business, who he is. But with that said, take a second to say hello to the audience.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Welcome to the Tony Shap Show. You know, as you know, I just get right into it. So it's like a rapid fire. So let's kick it off with the one word open that you're feeling right now. So what's that one word that you could share with us that you're feeling right now? That way the audience could be on the same page with you as well.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. I love it. Great. Let's go right into business. So tell us about your business. Tell us about the story, how you got started, the why, where you are now, and where you're what you're up to going forward.
Yeah, so Minerva helps people capture and share procedural knowledge. So if you're trying to do anything on the internet across any website, you can capture how to do that, or you can find out how to do that on Minerva. We're kind of the Wikipedia for process knowledge, really. It is an open platform. Anyone can use it. It started because I'm trained as an organizational psychologist, but I'm a self-taught software developer. And in 2018, I was helping some companies build software and deploy software. And as part of that, as a consultant, I was just coming in and helping them do things like, how do I deploy my code to AWS? And I would leave behind documentation, oftentimes screenshots, red arrows, text blobs, throw it into a Google Doc and hope somebody would find it and use it. This is a really frustrating process for me. It was a frustrating process for them. And it was impossible to maintain. It was hard to find, hard to use. So I started asking people, how do you do process documentation? And the answer I typically got was just like you're describing, screenshots and red arrows, that's how you do it. And I thought that was pretty much a wholly unsatisfying answer. And so I decided to build something. And that's kind of where Minerva came from. So it really is about helping people capture and share how to do things online. Typically, people that we help are customer success folks. Right now are using this a lot. Customer support, revenue operations people who are training salespeople, and then also just people trying to help their parents figure out how to sign on to Facebook and see pictures of their grandkids, or we help people figure out, how do I register to vote, or how do I request an absentee ballot? We're starting to now put out recipes, we call these recipes, these process flows, for how do I sign up for a COVID vaccine? So anything you'd like to figure out how to do online, Minerva can capture, share, and help people do that.
That's awesome. I mean, right now it's probably more valuable than ever as well. This is a perfect time for you because we're all working remote and we're trying to, collaborate with each other, stay on the same page. I know some organizations, what's funny, some organizations don't even do live Zooms. They record what they have to say and they blast it out, and then someone responds. And I thought it was super awkward, but I guess that works for them. But going back to what you said, was they're just trying to describe a workflow, and if there's so many different things you're putting together, that's where your product comes in. That's pretty awesome. Let's talk about a recent win. Can you share with us a recent win and also what you learned from it?
Sure. I'd say, well, one, we did raise some capital from, I think, the best investors in the world right now, Craft Ventures and GGV. In fact, I'm wearing my Craft shirt right now.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Craft, but also GGV, and also our investors from our pre-seed round, which were amazing as well, Max Ventures and Charge Ventures and a host of others. So that was a big win, but really fundraising is a means to an end. And really it's a means to grow the business, and to grow the business, you have to grow the team. So if I'm gonna talk about a win, it's gotta be team. We've been able to bring on some of the most talented, thoughtful, kind, team-oriented people that I've ever worked with. It's an incredible team. We're small but mighty, only 11 folks right now. We're still hiring a bit more. We hope to be up to 16 or 17 by the end of the quarter, but just bringing these groups of people together to go after this vision and to build this company has been incredible. And that's why I'm so grateful, I'd say.
That's awesome. I love that you shared, with team. Is there any special gems you could share with us when it comes to your recruiting process and hiring process?
We're really focused on culture fit, right? So the idea and we share this with anyone who's talking with us, we want to make sure that it's a good fit from a skill perspective, but also a cultural perspective. And it's not just one way. It's not just, are you a good fit for Minerva? Are we a good fit for you, right? If you're not into being in a collaborative environment, if you're someone who worked at Uber in the early days and would step over their own mother to close a deal, it's not the right business for you. It really isn't. And I want to let you know that. With culture, if you're not willing to lose out on some really talented, skilled, incredible people because they're not good culture fits, you're not building culture. And so we wear it on our sleeves. We let people know right away who we are, what we stand for, what we need from the person in this role to make sure that we're setting them up for success, and also that they'll be able to come in and contribute effectively.
That's awesome. Like that book, Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast.
Yeah.
I see you have a lot of books behind you. So what's your favorite book, by the way?
Business or otherwise?
Whatever is, let's stick with business if you don't mind.
So the business book, Edgar Schein is an inspiration of mine. Let's see if I can find somewhere on the right there.
How big is it?
So this one is a really good one.
Oh, of course it's on culture. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. Spoken like a true leader. How deep is your library? I know we were just talking about that before we talked. Can you show us real quick?
So behind me is most of my books, but my wife is a voracious reader and a writer. And so it goes on and on and on.
Goodness.
And on.
That's
living
awesome.
in an apartment in Brooklyn. This was the majority of what we did when we first moved in. It's over a decade ago. We just had these custom built because there's a lot of books.
That's really awesome. For those of you listening, if you're driving, obviously don't do anything. But when you get back in front of your computer, go to the show notes. I'll have the YouTube link on there. So you can see this huge library of books that he's got, which is pretty awesome. So I'm a big fan already. So you had me at books,
I don't know. There's that Twitter account where they'll rate your background. I don't know how well I would do on the background, but I might get some props for the breadth of the show.
It's definitely quality, not quantity. Well, in your case, you have both. So
I hope I have both.
Yeah. But, going back to, yeah, exactly. I love what you said about culture. And I was just talking about how, Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast, that one book that we've pretty much all read. And there's nothing, I just wanted to stack on what you said, which was really beautiful. The culture it's the number one thing, I think, when it comes to getting the right person. But there's nothing worse. I mean, those founders listening to this, and a lot of people may be able to relate to what I'm about to say. There's nothing worse than someone who's looking for a job and they'll take a role just because to take the role to get in an organization, and they're doing a disservice for themselves, and they might be out of that whole, it might not be a fit in 3 months because they could have just waited for the right role to be open that's in their wheelhouse, because it goes in line. Dan Sullivan says this, we all have our unique capabilities, and we should be in that role that helps you with your capability, not like an anti-capability role. So, which is huge, because I see this all the time, man. People get in the wrong, they just take the job because they're desperate, and it's the wrong fit, and it ends up not working out, and they're on this wheel for, like, next thing you know, it's 3 years, right? So, but you, like you said, culture's got to be great, and then people who are looking, they got to make sure it's the right role within their capability. But enough about that. So we talked about a recent win. Let's talk about a recent not so win. What would that be, if whatever you're comfortable sharing with us in business context? So something that occurred for you that was not so much of a win, and also what you learned from it, so the audience could have some gems to walk away with also.
Yeah. So we had a big launch on Product Hunt in August of last year, I'd say. And that really changed the trajectory of the business. We're also doing another big launch, by the way, on March 1st. So if you're out there, go to producthunt.com, vote us up on March 1st. I'll say it again at some point. But before we did this launch, which really was our public launch, we were in private beta. And I was in charge of doing outreach and sales. And it was happening, but it was happening slowly. It wasn't what I had hoped, I guess, from sales. I'm not a salesperson. I've got some skills around sales. I think I'm relatable. I can talk with people. We've got a product that's amazing. People love it. But we just weren't getting the wins that I wanted. And so I actually put myself on a performance improvement plan. I'm the first person ever at Minerva to be on a performance improvement plan, hired a sales coach. So I really started to invest in myself. And then ultimately the team, I have handed off sales first to Peter Kreisdell on our team, who's our SVP of Hard Problems. Peter does everything and anything for us. He's amazing. And then we eventually hired now a head of sales, Jamie Nicosi, and Jamie's amazing. And so being able to identify the problem, own the problem, take steps to rectify it, and then get the right people in the role. I think that was important. It was important as a learning. It was important for me.
That's huge. You should write a book on that one piece right there, how you put yourself on a PIP. That's awesome. But also you came out of...
Really, I wanted... PIPs are usually used to as a precursor to exiting someone from the organization, letting them go. And for Minerva, that's not how we're going to do it. I just cannot have that be the case. We want to actually invest in people. We want to actually say, look, being on a PIP is a good thing because we're going to invest in your improvement and you're going to get better. And then when you do get better, we're going to reward you for it. And so don't be afraid of going on a PIP. Ask to be put on a PIP. Say, look, I'm not comfortable with my own performance. Can you give me the resources I need to enhance my skills? And if everyone in the business can do that, if everyone's willing to raise their hand and say, look, something's not right here, I need help, we can get them the help and the company will succeed from that. And so I wanted to be at least an example of raising my hand and saying, I'm not performing and I think I could do better.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I know a lot of leaders would probably just, hide that and just put it away, but you came forth with this. So that's awesome of you to share that with us. That's a huge one. So if you were to, if there's a founder listening to this and they're like just launching and, you talked about product hunts, so they may have a good product or may not, but in the context of coaching, so if you could give any entrepreneur or founder listening to this, if you could give them only one advice, what would that be?
Invest in relationships. I think that's like the biggest bit, and don't do it to get something out of it immediately. You never know what may come. I always say that if I ever write a book, it'll be how to become an overnight success in 20 years or less. But really it's a long game. And when you're investing in relationships, you have something that you can provide to somebody else, right? If you're interested in an investor, we've got some of the best investors in the world. How can you make those relationships well before you're interesting to them? You've got some expertise, you've got some thought there that they want, that they're interested in. You can absolutely provide value. And that's the idea, right? So to make sure that you're creating relationships, you're investing in them deeply, and you're providing value to other people and doing that in an authentic way. And that pays dividends over a career and over a lifetime.
This has been absolutely remarkable. The things that you hit on, the last 3 questions, have been super awesome. I'm really grateful for that, because for those of you listening, those are some deep things that he just mentioned with us. And that's amazing. Thanks for telling us about building that deep relationship, not asking for stuff right away. Thanks for telling us about your performance improvement plan. That's a pretty big one. And also about your culture. Those 3 big ones, I think those are sensitive points to any organization, regardless of their size, whether if they're 7 or 8, 9 figures. Those things, obviously they change, but I wanted to take a second to acknowledge you and say thanks for sharing that with us.
Appreciate it.
Let's talk about how could our listeners get a hold of you? How could they find out more information?
So minervaknows.com, Minerva, Minerva, knows, knows.com is a great place to start. Like I said, we will be on Product Hunt. So producthunt.com, March 1st. That'll be when we're launching. The first time we launched the guided feature where you could actually follow what we call recipes. We're actually launching on March 1st. The feature where you can create your own recipes. And that's really exciting for us. That's going to open up a whole world of possibilities. We'd love for you to do that. Come by, give us your vote on producthunt.com. If you do that on March 1st, we're going to do the same thing we did last time, which was an all-day live stream. So starting from 6 a.m. probably Eastern time, all the way to about 11 p.m. Eastern time, myself and the entire team will be on a live stream. We'll be hosting people. So there will be some interviews, really quick fire, kind of like this, 10-minute interviews, but then also just taking live questions from the audience and interacting with people about Minerva, about entrepreneurship. It's a fun day. It's a long day, but it's a really fun day. So awesome. Come back to that too.
I'll be sure to put that in the show notes to your product hunt link and all that good stuff. So awesome. So take us away with your one-word close.
Team. I think getting the right people around you, just making sure that you are surrounding yourself, building a culture. Team is everything.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on, and I can't wait to have you back on here sometime soon.
Thanks, Tony.
And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.